actually really excited about. It's going to be a good one. I'm removing the exhaust and I'm going to add some custom built headers. What I mean by headers is a lot of people call them zoomies, some people call them stacks. There's a lot of names for them. Basically what I'm doing is I'm running the exhaust out of the hood. Common question of a non-derby driver or a rookie is, why do you run the exhaust out of the hood? Simple. It looks badass, sounds great, and it diverts the heat away from the engine. Keeps everything a lot cooler. Now headers can be really expensive, and that's where it pays to know somebody in the fabricating industry. My buddy Chad Lee's helping me out. But if that's not the route you want to go, you need to cut your exhaust underneath the car in front of the axle. If it's a front wheel drive, you can cut it up real short. Make sure it's not pointing towards anything that's gonna get too hot. On the rear wheel drive cars, your exhaust most likely goes right next to the transmission, and so best bet is to cut it after the tranny, because if you cut it before, it's gonna just be pouring right on it and heating that thing up real bad. So that stage is real easy. Just jack up your car, get your jack stands under there, get it all secure, give it a cut with the Sawzall or the torch. If you're torching under there, be real careful of your gas lines or brake lines around there. Depending on where you cut it, you might have to cut it again at the axle because it's real tough to bend everything around there and get it out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is take some measurements underneath the hood. What I have done already, I bought some header gaskets, and my buddy Chad Lee cut these out for me out of steel to match the gaskets, and he also bent me out 4 of these. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna remove the exhaust manifold and take some measurements so I know exactly where to cut this, leaving enough clearance for my spark plug wires and making sure that nothing is in harm's way. So before I get to this, I'm gonna take the hood off just so I have better access, better lighting in there. And I gotta take it off anyways, because next episode we're gonna fold that over and cut access for the new exhaust and the 10-inch clearance hole that's required by the rules. Okay, so now I'm going to take off the exhaust manifold. Looks like there's 8 nuts along the top here and 2 right at the bottom. There's a CO2 sensor on the back of the exhaust manifold. I already unplugged it and started it up before I did all this, just to make sure it'd still run with that unplugged, and it ran just fine without it. So it's out of here. Well, I just learned that I was greatly mistaken. There isn't only 2 holding the exhaust to the manifold, but there's 3. So I need to go under there and get to that 3rd one. All right, so I didn't know about that 3rd one, but now it's out and the manifold should come right out. All right, so let's go see Chad real quick and we'll make some cuts and do a little bit of welding and finish these up. Get them on real soon. Alright, so let's get these things on. Alright, so I think I'm ready to give it a shot. Fire it up. See how she sounds. That's awesome. So that turned out really freaking cool. Let me tell you, that is awesome. I love it. Thanks, Chad. That's all I'm going to cover this episode. Next time I'm going to modify this hood to go around the headers, cut out the 10-inch hole that's required by the rules, and fold it over the front end to act as a shield for the radiator. And while I'm at it, I might tuck the trunk. I don't know yet. We'll just see how things go. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time. Okay, so for you Volvo guys out there, I forgot to tell you this part. So right here at this flange is where I would just undo these bolts right before the catalytic converter and just drop all of that out of there. It does not go over the axle, it goes under the axle, so it'll all drop out in one piece. That's real easy. Really no cutting involved with this one. Now since I'm removing the whole thing, right next to the engine block, there's a bracket that comes off. I'm just going to undo the 2 bolts there, and then the rest of this entire exhaust system is just held in by rubber rings and grommets. Okay, so there's 2 rubber rings right here. Now there's 2 rubber grommets at the back, one at each side of the muffler, and that's it. And it's then this is all out of here. So on these style of grommets, they're normally a lot easier just to cut out if you have a small saw and try to cut them out of there. The saw really goes right through them. They already threw that one. So that's that. It's pretty simple. It's not always that simple, but this car was. So there you have it.